Hello everybody, this is Cresso, and I'm here to share my thoughts with you about the idea of authority. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. Just want to have a loose conversation. Anybody that's it's kind of like me recording it is like talking to somebody on the phone or on the radio. But anyway, I just want to share my thoughts especially about authority. So I uploaded a lot of clips lately, and I've been excited about it, and I wanted to talk about authority in different levels, how it basically impacts our society. And I'm just gonna talk about a little bit about my experience, or let's just put it this way, my take on it, of authority, having authority over somebody. Growing up, I've been through stuff. Let's just put it this way, But on the side of that, this idea of authority, I always felt the energy of that. I felt a disconnect. That's the feeling I get about authority. It's a disconnect. Something about that energy, it just seems very off. It's an idea. Having authority over somebody in different level is an idea. It's a suggested idea. And I see what it does. I see the reaction from other people when it comes to one person having authority over another person. And a few of my clips I did talk about that I reincarnated from a different dimension. I just want to make this very brief. I could tell you this, that I don't remember any feeling or any experience, not even an essence of any of that experience from the dimension I observed before I came to Earth. The beings on that dimension is very, very, I don't know, you call it deep-rooted connection or connected spiritually. It wasn't anything of, kind of like you do what I say, or none of those things. It was very well connected spiritually. It's just, that's the biggest thing. Love, a divine love. I could say basically that. There's no fear too. I don't remember experiencing this emotion of fear. But each dimension has its own experience, because all those experiences are part of consciousness. But we all make decisions what type of paradigm we're going to observe. Some paradigms, I feel personally, some paradigms that we choose could benefit you, or it could just put you in a lower state spiritually. That doesn't mean permanently. It's just an experience. So what I'm trying to say is, growing up and observing this type of action or this idea, I never like it. I just felt very odd about it, even though I've taken on that experience of having some authority over somebody for a moment, and I wasn't quite happy with myself. I didn't like the feeling that I'm over somebody. I think what it is that you get that, you have that, I'll break it down. You have a self-importance, and I'm talking about the ego, not the self of consciousness. The ego is part of consciousness, but consciousness itself is basically everything. But if you're going to talk about the ego part, you know, it's a limit to that. So if you're going to be self-important, just you, okay, you know, let's just pretend like you actually cut yourself off of consciousness, which actuality you can't. But so yeah, having authority over somebody, give you some sort of self-important, okay, it's the ego version now, okay. And what else? Yeah, basically it's a combination of different things psychologically and spiritually, but when you have authority over somebody, it makes you, it's a rush. You get that rush. It's that feel-good feeling, you know? But it only lasts for a moment. It's not anything fulfilling and on the long run. If you're trying to you try to throw fear at somebody because of authority, you're not happy with yourself, okay? Some of you that's listening to this, you can sit there and deny it. But I can tell you this, flat out truth, you're not happy with yourself. You're not happy about life. You just basically think you're the boss and you just want to boss people around. So you're not happy with yourself, okay? And not only that, you're afraid. But you won't admit that because of your pride. And, you know, all that authority, the idea of authority is just one big ego thing. It really is. I'm gonna make this clip short as possible, but I'm gonna break it down to you about what I think about this idea of authority. I don't know if anybody expressed this, or let's say that already have expressed how they feel about authority, what I'm about to share. I don't know, but if so, great. But I'm gonna say things, I'm gonna express things, and you know, when I express things, everybody, I'm not afraid. I'm not. I know a lot of stuff that I do talk about is non-conventional ideas, so I don't really care for traditions so much. So I'm not gonna talk about traditions, meaning like I'll hold them up like it means everything to me. No, I care less about traditions. You know, I mean, there's some good things about tradition, but I see myself I see myself within consciousness that I am more than tradition. Tradition can never define me. So, but yeah, a lot of stuff that I do express is basically, it's kind of like the outside of the box type of mentality, okay? Or change things up from the ground up. All right, so having authority. I'm gonna start off with this, okay? Parents. Yeah, mother and father. A lot of you may not agree with this because you know, based on your upbringing, your personality, and so and so. But you know, I gotta say this. You know, the idea of how families are constructed is it is egotistic, and I'm gonna put it this way. Okay, you may agree, you may agree with me or not. One of the most things that you hear from your mother and father, right? Let's say, do what I say, or I come from you, you know, you come from me. You know, a lot of that, threaten, you know, you want to discipline your child by using whether a verbal or you use physical force. And it's not going to apply to everybody, but I will say a good number of us experience these things. So yeah, yes, mother and fathers, they use this thing about basically you live under my roof, do what I say, especially a lot of mothers will say, you know, you come from me, or I put you in this world, I take you out of this world, and all those things. We all heard that, right, everybody? And the age, that's another thing. I'm older than you. That's another thing I observe in humanity, that they kind of, I'll be straight up real with everybody. That stuff annoys me, age. So So yeah, so you got the age, you got the title of mother and father, okay? So they lay down the authority on you. Now, a lot of you feel like, you know, a lot of you like this. A lot of you grow up have this in your upbringing. You think that having somebody to beat you with a belt made you a better person. I'm gonna be honest with you, everybody. When I first heard that over the years, I used to find one of the things twisted about humanity. And you have to understand from the dimension I observe. The dimension I observe is love as a connection there. So you have to beat somebody to gain or have respect or to say, I love you. I find that very twisted in humanity. And I'm not gonna hold back and say that. I'm gonna say it. But if you can't deal with it, and if it's hard to hear this, then, well, you know, hey, you can skip this clip, or you can sit there and just listen to what I have to say, and maybe you'll be inspired. So yeah, I find some of that stuff very twisted in humanity. You gotta beat somebody. I don't want to go too far with the parent clip. I am thinking about creating a clip a lot more for the parents, but I want to talk about this authority, being some sort of authority, okay? You know, so yeah, a lot of you agree with that because you feel like it made you a better person. You feel that if somebody didn't beat you with a belt, you would have what? You would have be somewhere that you're not. Let's just put it this way. Let's say you are successful, right? You're somewhere that you never thought you'd be if your mother didn't beat you down. About beating you, about whether you better go to school, you better do your homework, and just beat you if you didn't do it. So that made you a better person. Wow. Okay. If that's how you feel, okay. You know, everybody, again, we all have different experiences. Some like it, some don't. You know, and that's the thing about consciousness. You know, consciousness is all about experience. That's what it is. But humanity is really, I find humanity, the part of consciousness is very interesting. Twisted though, but interesting. So yeah. So you know, so we got that. So, and the moms, they feel like they have something over you. You know, it's gonna hurt the moms. I know it's gonna hurt your pride, what I'm about to say. So, but because you gave birth to somebody, and you say to somebody, you come from me, I carry you for 9 months. You know, everybody, I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna be, you can take what I'm going to say or leave it. You know, to the moms, you may give birth to a flesh, okay, but I'm gonna put it this way. The child that you gave birth been living, let's just put it this way, that your child's been living longer, just like you have. There's really, you know, the age that we put on ourselves it's just an illusion. There's really no age. So just because you gave birth to somebody, that doesn't mean that you started life. You never started life, okay? Life always been around. And the saying about I put you in this world, I take you out of this world, even if you did that, your child will still be alive. Either be in this dimension or go in another dimension, and so on and so on. So you're not going to, it's not like you're taking anything away from the child. So the saying about I put you in this world and I take you out of this world is very egotistic. It's an illusion that you fall onto yourself. And another thing too, this is gonna also hurt your pride. You see, we all came into this world as humans, or different forms, or whatever. A lot of you may not remember why you came into this world. I remember why I came into this world. Okay, because I reconnected to who I am, even though I reincarnated from another dimension. But I decided, I remember very well that I made a decision to come here. Now, back to the moms. Your child, believe it or not, the child that you gave birth, you see, it made a decision to come into this world and to come to you, to come through you. So it's not like you got something over your child, and it's not like your child got something over you. It's just that, you know, everything is life. You know, there's nobody have some authority over somebody or dictate whether you're going to live or die, and there's nobody dies anyway. So let's just, you know, throw that out the window. So I know this is going to hurt the mom's pride, because a lot of moms take great pride because the hardship they go through for 9 months, and the labor and all that, the pain and all that. So it makes you feel like, you know, like, hey, you know, I gave birth to you, you know, and then it comes with obligation that the child got to do all these things for you. But I'm going to leave that for another topic. Again, I'm thinking about creating a clip on parents, so I don't want to go too far off. So again, moms, when you gave birth, okay, that doesn't mean that you started life. Life has been going on, has always been going on. There was no, you know, there's no beginning, no end to life. So, you know, the child that came into this world is just another experience. All right, so that's all I got to say about that. But yeah, you know, and another thing, just to finish off with the authority, the parents being the authority. You know, you always wonder why there seems to be a rebellion. You know, I know a lot of teens, we always see, not all teens, but a lot of teens seem to have a rebellious or emotional phase they go through. Not all teenagers. When I was a teenager in this world, I didn't really have those experiences. I spent a great deal of my time growing up analyzing this world so much, and even myself, trying to figure out at the beginning, like, how do I got here? The reason why I say that is because at that time, I didn't know who I was. But now I know why I came here. So anyway, back to the teens. Yeah, so we got teens that seem to be rebellion against the parents, and for various different reasons. But you know, you want to set that law, you know, at the household. And it just seemed to be a conflict going on. Again, it's not going to apply to everybody, but a good number of households go through this. You know, I don't honestly, I don't have a child, and because of my background, all right, everybody, because of my background, I just couldn't see myself lay a hand on my child, because I just don't really agree with that at all. And no, I don't agree how some kids act towards either. There's a disconnect between the parent and child. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have children, but I just can't see myself laying hitting my daughter or son. I just can't see myself doing that. But yeah, there seems to be a conflict going on in a lot of households on that. And you know, you want to teach your kids, you want to make sure they do the right thing and all that to make themselves to do well in life. Okay. And yeah, it's just sometimes things doesn't seem to go exactly as planned. You know, you think that you are in control of your child. You try to control. You know, I want to say this, and I want to close out on a parent section of this clip. You know, I truly believe, okay, that all parents should be advisors. That's it, just advisors. Okay, I know it's going to be a little difficult to hear from for a lot of those that's very traditionalist. Okay, that take pride from your upbringing. So your grandmother beat your mother, so your mother beat you, so you got to carry that tradition. You know, you got to keep that tradition going. So anyway, so yeah, I know it's gonna be a little difficult to hear what I'm saying. I feel that parents should be advisors. That's it, because you see, I'm going to emphasize on this, what I'm about to say in this clip. Excuse me. It's not meant for any man, for any being to have authority over another being. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your age is, if you want to go by an age number. It doesn't matter. It's not meant. Because there seem to be, in a larger percentage, there seem to be basically a conflict. It's just not meant to be that way. It's basically, it's like, how are you going to have consciousness, the source of all things in life, to have authority of source of all things in life? It doesn't make no sense. Because the reason why it doesn't make no sense, okay, spiritually, is because we're all as one. So so the oneness is going to have authority over oneness. You're thinking that because you have an authority over somebody, you think there's a separation there, and that's when that's why the authority is egotistic. It suggests separation. It suggests that I'm on top and you're down here. Same goes for the parents. The mother and father plays the top, and the children are below. Okay, the same thing with the age. A lot of you, and I'm going to touch on a lot of values and traditions here. So I'm not going to hold back, So to close out with the parents, I think a lot of parents should be advisors, because you see, your child, okay, is going to make its decision one way or another. Okay, that's it. We are all freedom. That's it, because we're consciousness. So I really believe parents are, I really want to inspire parents to be advisors and fearless. A lot of parents get this twisted with love and fear. There is no love and fear. So when you want to put fear into somebody, I don't care if you're trying to say, I just want to make sure my son and daughter do the right thing. When you put fear into something, you don't love the person. You don't. There's no love and fear. So you really got to re-examine love, what love really is. So fear is just the opposite. That energy of fear is a very low energy. Yeah, it is part of consciousness, but it's a very low energy. It's not going to do anything for you and your child in the long run. It's not. So parents, I want to inspire all parents is to be fearless. Okay, and when I want to be a little bit more clear. When I mean fearless, don't worry about what decision your child's going to make. Just advise them. That's it. It's their decision whether they're going to take your advice or not. If they don't want to, let's say your child doesn't want to go to college and to continue the traditional American way of life, to go to college. I mean, not everybody go to college, but anyway. If your son or daughter don't want to go to college and they don't want to land that nice corporate job, that you have this picture, this ideal picture that what your son and daughter should do. If they don't want to do it, I inspire you to say that I am fearless. That's it. You're fearless. Don't worry what decision what your child's gonna make. Just give them advice and that's it. They're free to take it or not. That's it. Just like a lot of my clips. The things I say in my clips, okay, I say things to inspire everybody. I am about self-empowerment. So a lot of things I do say, you can take it or leave it. Okay? By you not taking in what I'm saying, you're not taking anything away from me. You're not. I don't walk around being afraid. I don't. I have my moments, but I know who I am. So I do envision people listening to my clips are inspired. So I want to just close out with the parents. I want to touch on a little bit about the age. I did mention at the age. Now, I just want to say this, everybody. Okay? I understand that you talk about age and experience comes with experience, right? So, because you're a certain age, and you have certain experience, you think that you have something over somebody. Okay, you think you have an edge, or a lot of you will talk about wisdom. You know, like I said in the beginning of this clip about when I was talking about the parents. You see, someone that's younger than you, they've been, let's just, for the sake of this conversation, I'm just gonna I'm gonna translate in these words. The person that's younger than you has been living as long as you have. Okay? That's it. So the person that's younger than you has just the amount of wisdom as you have. So just because you're younger, just because you're older, and just because you gain some experience, that doesn't mean that you're more wiser than the next person. I mean, the thing is everybody, is that we do exchange knowledge. Knowledge is like circulation. It just circulates all around. So nobody really has anything, some edge over anybody. Like the stuff that I know, everybody throughout humanity could align themselves to know what I know. Just because I come from a different dimension, that doesn't mean I have some edge over you. My own ego would suggest that, but no. Actuality, no, because I'm consciousness just like you are. So for those that want to talk about I'm older than you, you know, just put your ego aside and really understand spiritually that your age means absolutely nothing. It really doesn't. Because I'm going to put it this way. Life is infinite. So there's really no zeros that you can put in front of a number. You know, in front of a 1, 2, whatever. There's no zeros, infinite. You understand? Infinite. So yeah, so just throw the whole idea that I'm older than you, do what I say, or I'm smarter than you, or whatever. Just throw that out the window. Just put your ego aside, really. You know? What else? What else we got? We got, let's see here. This is a classic one. Teachers and students. Somebody's a teacher, okay? I used to observe this in humanity and a lot of things, whether through school or martial arts. Oh yeah, and religion too, excuse me. So somebody's in a position either to teach or say something or be doing some sort of function, okay? Thinking that because you're a teacher, okay, you think that you think because everybody that's listening to you, you're thinking that they don't know anything or they have no wisdom. It's kind of touched back a little bit while I was talking about the age. I'm gonna put it this way for the teachers, all the teachers from grade school to college, from the professors from the Ivy League schools. You may have a lot of degrees and all that you could boast about, and how intellect you are and how smart and everything, and how you put together these lessons. I just want to put it this way, you know, the certificate that you earn and your title as a professor, you know, if you really step outside of the whole ego structure, it means absolutely nothing. So yeah, your ego is going to be hurt by me saying that. You see, and this is, you have to understand what consciousness is. See, and I do say this on my Twitter, infinite knowledge. Infinite knowledge is not about any lectures or any formulas or calculations and all this stuff and having a nice shiny degree. Infinite knowledge is basically knowing that I am love, knowing that I am freedom, knowing that I am in control of my life. That's really it. It's the simplest way to put it, because consciousness is all about simplicity. So a lot of us, we get caught up with these accolades and other stuff and think because you're a teacher, you think that you have something over somebody. I mean, yeah, you develop a skill, but if you look beyond that, life is much more than a certificate that you have or you being a professor. So the student that you're teaching, I'm gonna put it this way, okay? You see, like I was saying early, knowledge, okay? And let's just put it this way, any type of knowledge. Knowledge is circulated all around. I do like the idea that everybody's a student and everybody's a teacher, okay? There's no separation. Just because you're a professor and you're standing by the blackboard, that doesn't mean that there's a separation between you and a student. You see, you okay, or let's just say all the professors and all the teachers from kindergarten to grade schools, etc. You see, you could learn something from your students as well as your students could learn from you. There's a circulation there, you know. So if you're gonna separate yourself because you're a teacher, and a kind of combination with age too, you're being very egotistic. You are. You know, these are the things that I'm talking about so far, everybody. A lot of us, we accept these things because we just think that you think because you want to put the idea of respect. Yeah, I just want to give respect, you know. I want to give respect because the person's older than me. The person's been around longer than me. But then, like I told you before, you've been around long as the person that's older than you. And again, there is no age. So you can throw the age out the window, okay? If you want to talk about respect, okay, I got that. Mutual respect on both sides. Let's just put it that way, everybody. Okay? So just because someone's older than you, that doesn't mean that they're better than you or let's say gain more worthy, okay, than you. No. Is that we all worthy. I don't care who you are. I don't care what age you fall under. It doesn't matter. So everybody is worthy. So yeah, I do believe in mutual respect. And I want to say this also. I want to touch on martial arts. I visit some of the martial arts schools. I visit Aikido classes and other stuff. And just the whole idea, I know what the whole idea of martial arts is. You know, you got the teacher. You got everybody bows down. But there's some martial arts, I just want to say this real quick. Some martial arts teaching, they all bow down. It's a mutual thing. I like that. I really do. And I know this is going to take, I know we take a lot of pride, especially again and again, I'm going to say this to everybody. When you're a teacher, you got all these skills and experience, right? You feel like you're there, you're up there. But I'm going to say this also for the senseis, okay? And also for the gurus. I'm going to touch on the gurus, all the people that claim to be gurus. You see, you don't have any edge over anybody. You may have experience and all that, but you know what? Everybody learns from everybody. That's it. We are, and at the same token, we are free to basically, you know, listen what you want to say or whatever. But no matter what, everything's going to turn out just fine. It may not make sense what I'm saying, but what I'm trying to say is that you want to teach somebody, right? Great. But again, I just want to emphasize, understand that, you see, you also can learn from somebody that's basically that you're teaching. But we don't have to take on what other people are saying. The same thing that no one doesn't have to take on what the gurus got to say, or the senseis. The sensei want to teach someone how to do a certain technique, great. I want to say it's very humbling that the teachers learn from the students. I don't hear that a lot. I don't, because you know why? It's because a lot of people are very egotistic. Very egotistic. That pride is so huge. Big time. Especially the gurus. The gurus think that they got something over everybody. You don't got nothing over, you don't have nothing over nobody. I'm sorry, I hope I'm saying this right, but yeah, the idea of a guru is very egotistic. I'm gonna put it this way. Let me just say this. We're all gurus. Let's just put it that way, all right? Like I was saying earlier, we're all teachers and students. All right? Again, everybody, we are consciousness, okay? Everybody's connected, okay? We're not connected physically, but in spirit, we're connected as one, okay? All right, so I touch on the teachers and senseis and gurus and parents, all that. What else? Oh, man, I got a little bit more to go, but I'll try to do my best to wrap this up quick. Wow. We got the job, at your job. I did touch on that a little bit, a few of my clips. So somebody is a manager or somebody's a supervisor. I've been around so many jobs and I've seen how people react towards one another, and I've seen how people react towards me. You think because you're a manager and you're a supervisor, you think people have to basically, you know, kind of like they gotta jump. They basically gotta jump because you say boo, and because you believe because you're in a position that you can fire somebody. So basically, you can spread fear. So the whole psychological thing about it is basically is this: that you do what I say or you lose your job. That's the strategy of somebody having authority over somebody at a job. So yeah, those that are basically afraid, that observe the idea of being afraid, yes, they're going to jump when their boss says boo. When the boss says boo, you jump. Okay? And if you don't follow orders at the job, you don't do what the boss say, right? It's automatic termination. Depends on the job, whatever. There's always seems to be a conflict going on. A lot of you are going to deny it, but a lot of you don't like this idea of somebody being a boss over you. Now, you see, the interesting thing about this whole idea about authority, you see, some of you, not all, will carry that idea at your job from upbringing, right? Let's say, for example, your mother beat you. Your mother beat you to death. Excuse me, it's a figure of speech, but your mother beat you, made you a better person. So basically, you formulated that idea. That's just how things are, right? So you take some of that, okay, some of that. Not saying your boss is gonna physically beat you, but the idea of somebody having authority over you, and that frightens you, and you're going to do whatever your boss say. So yeah, you carry a little bit of, you know, from what you got from upbringing to your job. I'm just giving out as an example, everybody. So yeah, this is some of the stuff that some of us do. But you know, a lot of us, again, you know, there's a conflict going on. There is, because one way or another, people are going to rebel. People are going to rebel in one form or another. Like I said in the beginning, it's not meant for a man to have authority over another man. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your age is. It doesn't matter. It's just not meant. I mean, we could go on with the paradigm, with the idea of having authority, but you see, because we're going to go on with this idea, again, we're all freedom now. We're going to continue going on with that paradigm by choice. It comes with things. It comes with rebellious actions. It comes with that somebody's going to react towards you that you're not going to like. You know, you getting out of line. Let's say for all the bosses and supervisors, you getting out of line. What's going to happen? Either one, someone's going to blow up in your face and stick a middle finger at you and say, "I quit." All the types of things. But you know, it's not going to serve you or anybody around you in the long run. It's not. It's just creating drama. It is. Are there mutual respect when it comes to this structure that we put together about having an egotistic boss? No. All it is just fear. So you tell somebody, again, you're in a higher position. You tell someone to do, you know, you would do your job, or otherwise you'd be fired. So yeah, and like I always tell you, like I always say in my other clips, is that having the idea of authority basically is that it is based on fear, and not just giving out fear to other people, but you yourself are afraid. Yeah, some of you may not agree, you may not admit it because of your pride, but yeah, you're gonna basically coddle yourself into that position of a boss that make you a bigger person, right? That'll give you some sort of power, right? But it's your ego talking. All of that is egotistic. I mean, the thing is, I'm going to express to everybody a little bit towards the end about power and what is power and how to use the energy of power within us, okay? Without the egotistic version of it. So you basically you wanna spread fear and all that. You know, you say something, everybody gotta do what you know. They gotta do what they say. You know, they gotta follow everything what you put out there. Okay. So yeah, you know, we got that. Wow, you know, it's a lot. You know, this thing about having authority over one another spreads a lot through humanity. Wow, we got that. We got the job. We got military. I touch on military a few of my other clips. The human paradigm. I made a clip on the military. Wow, that's just amazing. This whole thing is this idea that we put together, having authority, is so twisted. That's why I'm gonna put it this way, everybody. That's why I see that a lot of us are not connected spiritually for the moment. We're not. You see, you're thinking that that's just the way life is, right? You know. There are some people that don't really care about following the rules. They don't. There are some people. We call people like that a menace to society. You know, the lawbreakers, right? Lawbreakers. You know, they don't follow the rules. They're not walking a straight line. What are we going to do with these people? Right? I mean, why do we have that in the first place? Why do we have someone just don't care about the rules? I mean, who set that rule? So you got, a good number of us, we set rules up, right? We set rules up and we break it. I mean, what is that telling you, everybody? It's ineffective. But again, by choice, we all going to continue with this paradigm of having authority over people. You try to control people. You know, I never want to be in a position I'm controlling people. I see myself that I'm inspiring people. You know, I'm a creator. I want to create something different. That's it. You know, that's all I want to do on that. So yeah, you know, you got the job, you know, you got the military. Wow, I don't want to go in the military so much, but I'm just saying that it's just a lot of stuff throughout society. It's just amazing. Religion. You got religion with hierarchy positions. I was a Christian. I mentioned that in a few of my clips. You got the deacon. You got the deacons. Sorry, I got chess. Somehow I got chess in my head. But anyway, even chess has the game of chess have these high-ranking positions. But anyway, back to church. So yeah, you got the deacons, you got the ministers. What else? The elders, all right? You got the elders. You got that, right? It depends on the religion, faith. But yeah, you know, and then you got the members, the regular members. The members are like it's like a triangular structure. You got the members that don't have no title. They're not in leadership. They're just like the little people, for example. Okay. But yeah. We got the authorities in churches too, and then we use this. Then you know, for example, for Christians, then you know we'll use this excuse that we created some outside God to say that, yes, this outside God that we created put me in charge of you. So I'm basically the minister because the God that I serve anointed me as your leader. So yeah, we created that. So you have an outside God that creates that. So yeah. So all those things, everybody, you know, all that's egotistic. It is. It really is. But again, a good number of you now follows this stuff. You think that's going to really bring harmony. You think that, yeah, you know, this is the way to be in life and society and humanity. But I'm going to say this flat out. I'm just breaking it down to everybody, bit by bit. It doesn't. It may look like it, but there's a division on. There is a division. There are discords, because I'm going to emphasize it's not meant for a man to have authority over another man. We are all as one. In spirit, we're all as one. We got that. Yeah, we got what else? We got the governments. Governments is we created government. That's another paradigm that suggests having some authority. We got lawmakers. We got judges that wear the black robe with that little hammer, banging that little hammer, saying order, order. Got that. So yeah, everybody got to jump. When a judge says order, everyone got to jump. And just behave yourself. So we got that. We got lawmakers. Lawmakers got their chin up, signing up these laws, thinking that there's some God over everybody because they're lawmakers. What else? Man, same thing for the judge. All those things are egotistic. Oh yeah. We got that, and we got the law enforcers. Law enforcers. So yeah. As long as you have, I'm gonna put it this way with the cops, as long as you have law enforcers, you're gonna always have outlaws. Why say that? Because it's basically, again, it's not meant for man to have authority over another man. It's just simple as that. You see, everybody, you came into this world pure, because you are pure, okay? These functions that you do, whether if you're a police officer, whether if you're an outlaw, or whatever you do, it doesn't really define who you really are. But these are choices. You know, being a police officer is a suggested idea. You know, being a lawmaker is another suggested idea. Being a criminal is another suggested idea. All the choices that we make in life and what function we do, they're all suggested ideas. You know? But yeah, a lot of the structural stuff is egotistic. A lot of us, we allow our own ego micromanage us within these functions. So yeah, the more you have to see, as long as you have police officers, you're gonna have outlaws. That's just it. A lot of you probably wondering, well, you thinking that it's because people become outlaws by default. Not really. I mean, we make choices. But beneath the idea of a criminal, the person is pure. That person that you claim, that you say that he's a criminal or she's a criminal, that person's consciousness, like it or not. So yeah, in spirit, that serial killer that you see in the news, or that child rapist that you see in the news that you kind of wish that person would be hung to death, you see, that person, okay, that child molester and that serial killer, okay, in spirit is connected to you. What? Yep, that's right. So yeah, it's definitely connected to you. Adolf Hitler. Sorry, Adolf Hitler. Okay, Adolf Hitler is connected to you. In spirit, he's connected to you. So, as all these people that we claim to be monsters and all that stuff, yeah, in spirit, they're connected to you. So, I just want to say that, you know, I know a lot of us hearing this, you can't believe what you're hearing. I'm like, I can't believe what this person's saying all these things. Yeah, it's the truth. So yeah, criminals, all the evil, the baddest criminals in the world are connected to you in spirit. Because we're all consciousness. I'll tell you, everybody, with this ego, with the structural ideas that we put together, I could just expose so many things within humanity, and we all created this by choice now. Because you know why? Because these are experience. That's all it is. Like I was telling you before, consciousness is all about experience. But you see, consciousness doesn't have to do all these things. Consciousness doesn't need structure, because you see, consciousness is also the void. You see, consciousness doesn't need identity. It's the void. So, you know, I know a lot of the stuff is probably, some of you listen to this is new to you, maybe, or a lot of you probably might have an idea what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's just that, yeah, we're separated by these egotistic ideas, you know. I'm telling you, you know, again, you know, when we decide to wake up and shift or acknowledge that we are all consciousness, a lot of these egotistic ideas will be constructed differently. A lot of us will have mutual respect for one another, and I think that's basically important for everybody. You know, for us having a mutual respect, okay, for one another is really great. And again, it's not about you having something over somebody, okay? It's about people having mutual respect for one another. Okay? I'm able to see past these structures, all the stuff that I just listed in this clip so far. I'm able to see past all this because I understand who I am. I understand, I reconnected to consciousness, and I know who we all are. I know who we are. You know, I inspire everybody on the internet, but I want to say I know who we are. We all consciousness. So because I understand what all this means and I reconnected to consciousness, I'm able to see past these structures that's been put together by us, you know, because we're consciousness. Again, everything that I just listed, from the parents, from the teachers, the sensei, the gurus, all those things, all that is just suggested ideas. It's just an experience. You know, things are not always set on default. See, everything is changeable, and that's the beauty thing about consciousness. You think that things just the way it is and nothing can be changed? No, everything's changeable. So I really believe that I do believe what I share in this clip inspired you to basically see things differently, see yourself differently, and see others differently. Okay? And it's not about titles. It's not about I'm your parents. It's not about your age. You think that you're older and wiser than somebody? No, not really. None of those things. You know? Yeah, it's not about rankings too. Ranks. That's just all those things are egotistic. But yeah, you know, and throughout the universe and beyond, none of this stuff just means nothing. It's like life is much larger than those things. Everything that I listed, everybody, life is larger than that. I embrace infinite life. I'm not afraid. A lot of us are afraid of infinite. We just are. I guess some of us are comfortable with the idea of living on Earth, die, and then it'll just like go blank, like, that's it. Like, end of story. I'm like, no. You're gonna continue basically forever. So there's no end to your life, whether you are a human or not a human. So I embrace infinite life. So I just sharing my thoughts with everybody. I just want to express this, and especially about authority. It's a very low, having authority over somebody is a very low energy. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't uplift anybody spiritually. It doesn't. It doesn't. It does create discord. It does create fear. What do you call it? That mistrust. Yeah, a lot of those things. So I know you're all intelligent because you're all consciousness. You're all intelligent enough to know exactly what I'm talking about. So, you know, just take it in. You know, if you don't understand or you're trying to put everything together yourself, why saying all these things? Well, you know, take it in what I say, and yeah, you know, life is not short. That's just a ridiculous saying from humanity. No, life is infinite. So embrace it. You know. Again, look at yourself differently and everybody else. Okay, you're not above anybody, nor you are below anybody. So just throw this. I do envision a lot of us shifting out of this authority idea. I do. This is what I envision. I envision people are literally connected spiritually. A bond, a mutual respect for one another. So yeah, this is what I envision. And I just want to pass this on to you. So I learned a great deal about life here on Earth so far. You know, even though I come from a different dimension, like I say, I learn. And yes, I will call out some of the things are twisted, but a lot of the ideas that are twisted, it's just an experience. But other things I learned in this world so far, yes, it's a lot of good stuff I learned on a lot of things on Earth. And you know, there's a lot more things about Earth. And I just love the idea that yes, there are some of us do exchange knowledge, knowledge being circulated and stuff like that. So yeah, I just want to say that, you know, I'm not better than anybody, you know, I'm not below anybody either. So I just want to express that. So okay, all right, everybody, it's been a pleasure sharing as always. I will be back with another interesting topic. Take care.